Stop comparing Delap and Jackson. It's okay. Over the last few days, there's been a lot of talk about Delap and Jackson. Why Delap is not good enough. Why Chelsea need Jackson back. Why Jackson should return. And I understand the comparison. For me, I want Jackson to return and play as a left winger for us because we don't have any good left winger that we can bank on. If you like the video, support the channel by leaving a like, follow or subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. And most of them are talking about how Jackson had scored 14 Premier League goals in his first season for Chelsea. He had a very good season. But I feel the comparison is just too unfair on the lab. And anytime, if anyone says this, I know they will say, oh, it's because he's English, because they call him the basic baby king, call him the next king, Harry Kane. But for to me, it's unfair on him because how many games has he started? In Jackson's first season, how many injuries did Jackson get? How many times did Jackson miss? The first time he got injured, he was out for almost 2 months. Palmer got injured. Then I think he started the game against West Ham. Started the next game against Fulham. Played 14 minutes and pulled his hamstring. Went out for 2 months. And then when he came back, he got suspended again. Like he has not been able to get a good run of games. How do you expect someone that is not starting to be scoring goals? How many goals do you want him to score for you? So far, he has made 9 starts in the Premier League this season. He has never made more than 2 Premier League starts in a row. How would you expect that kind of player to be consistent? How? So the comparison is just unfair. And even when you consider the amount of money he was signed for £30 million. We can we don't need too much on him to be able to sell him back for a profit. And I don't know if he's still going to be if he's still going to work for him at Chelsea. I don't think with how Pedro is playing. And he was signed for £30 million. And I've seen some people say that no one is talking about him because he's English or that. But as a Sky Sports pundit, as a pundit, when there are people like Ekitike, Shesko, Yokeres that were signed for over 70 million, will you leave them and come and start talking about the lab? So I believe the comparison is unfair. He doesn't have the amount of minutes Jackson got in his first season. You cannot compare it to this, to what Delap is getting now. He didn't get any injuries. Then Pedro is Chelsea's main striker. The year that the season Jackson scored 14 Premier League goals, he was Chelsea's main striker. So if you are to compare anyone, compare Jackson's first season to anyone, it has to be Pedro. He's the one getting the minutes that Jackson was getting during that 2023-2024. So how can you, someone is sitting on the bench, he's rarely starting. He has never started more than 2 games in a row. You want him to, what do you want him to do for you? So Delap is good enough as a backup. He's a backup for Pedro currently. He's good enough. And even when he came, he was looking a bit sharper. He started the Club World Cup well. And I remember against PSG, he was very close to scoring. He had one shot from outside the box that was a good save from Donnarumma. And then another one where I think he should have scored that one, but he probably thought it had gone in. But I don't know if it was Donnarumma that saved it or it was Marquinhos that cleared it from goal line. So he started very well, being someone that already played a lot of minutes for Ipswich in the Premier League. And now he came to Chelsea. He started well in the Club World Cup. And now he's no longer getting minutes. He's struggling to get minutes, and like he plays. Let's say you start him today. The next 3 games he's coming off the bench, and then the next 2 games you start him, and then you keep him on the bench for the next 2 games. The next game you start him. Like how he cannot be consistent with the kind of start he's getting. Palmer now that he's returning from injury, Palmer is starting any game that he can start. They make sure that as far as he's available to start, they start him so he can get back to full fitness. But if you bring in Palmer, start Palmer today, the next 2 games you keep him on the bench, and then the next one you start him, and then the next one you bring him off the bench, he cannot get consistency like that. So Delap needs a good run of games for us to be able to judge him. I cannot judge him and say he's not good enough. I cannot. I want to see Delap start like 5 games in a row before I start judging him. He doesn't even have to score in any of those games. He doesn't have to score. If he starts 5 games in a row, he doesn't have to score. You just have to see some kind of good performance. It's not impossible for a player to play 5 games and not score. But then he's not getting the stats. How can you now be saying he's not good enough? This, that. Like as it is, I don't think it can work out for him at Chelsea again. I don't think so because Pedro is doing very well and Pedro just keeps getting better. So I think for him to do well, Pedro needs to either get injured or just his form needs to drop. And hopefully that even if it happens, it won't be so bad. So I think in the end, Delap might have to either go on loan or we'll probably move to another club because even if he's going on loan, when he's going on loan, like how well will he do so well that they will bring him back and displace Pedro from the squad and bring him in? So I don't know what, like it all depends on him because he'll probably have the World Cup is this year. I don't think he probably wants to go to the World Cup, but it's not that serious. But once we're approaching like Euro 2028, that's where he will be looking at his age, probably like 25 then, and then he'll be thinking he should be getting to England squad. So I wouldn't be surprised if let's say he starts thinking about leaving Chelsea soon, like maybe a year from now. It all depends on Pedro, how Pedro plays, how other players in his position play, and if Rosine still remains Chelsea manager. Because under Maresca, I believe there was still a very, very good chance for him to get into the team. Instead of Delap and Jackson, we should be comparing Pedro and Jackson. And if I had to compare Pedro with Jackson's first season stats, by this time, Jackson's first season, we had played 26 games and Jackson had played 24 out of the 26. He missed 2 because of the AFCON. And he made 21 starts, scoring 8 goals and providing 3 assists. And now, compared to Pedro, Pedro has played all 26 games. He has started 22 times. He has scored 10 goals and provided 4 assists. And if we are to judge by the numbers, then obviously Pedro is doing better. So I just hope Pedro keeps getting better. I don't see any reason why you should be talking Delap and Jackson at all. Because Delap, like, it's just not working out for him. When we signed him initially, I felt it was going to be a very good signing because that time I thought he was the only one we were going to try to sign as a centre forward. But then we signed Pedro also. The important thing is we have someone ahead of him, so we should not even be worried.